Alex, you need to drop it down, mate, because you need this signing. What's the sound through that?
What? You can't see the sign there because of the sunlight.
Just on that.
I don't think you can get Alex in the photo either.
So we're just going to test the mic. We'll be live soon, guys. Sorry. That's good, isn't it? So we'll be with you in a sec.
It's because it's been knocked by the charge.
Is this that?
I'm doing it on
We're just testing the mics.
There we go. Good. Good to go. All right, sorry about that, everyone. We're just making sure that you can hear us, all our dulcet tones and everything. And yeah, it's all good. We're all good, and we're all ready to go. Let's turn that down, Alex, and let's go, mate. Anyway, I'm getting loads of echoes. What's going on? Everybody's talking. Anyway, Adam, do you want to turn that down, mate? Hold on, Billy. Anyway, here we are, our last live show of the 17-18 season. We're going to be discussing lows tonight, the highs and mainly the lows, let's face it, of this season. And we'll go through the end of the season Talk Posh Awards. Also, before a mass clear out at the club, we will go through the whole squad and decide who we would keep and who we would sell. The lads are here to chat through it all. If you want to contact us, comment below. Or if you are watching on YouTube, you can tweet us at Talk Posh. Firstly, let's discuss the season as a whole then. And what the summer holds for us as well. I think we need to start with just an overall chat about what happened this season, which overall was quite a disappointing one, weren't it, Adam? Disappointing.
It was disappointing, but then again, you can understand why it was disappointing with what happened halfway through. Obviously, we'll discuss it of where it went wrong. But unfortunately, obviously, we're doing it now 9 days after the last game of the season. And it already looks like they're planning towards next season already. So it's almost like it's taking, the pain away. But if we're concentrating on last season, it was disappointing because we were sat here last July, August, and I honestly felt like this was the group. The togetherness was there. I mean, if you go back to, our first shows, we said how the togetherness was there, how well we looked. It was 12th of September, we were sat top of the league and we thought, we're going to give this a go. And yet again, it just slipped away. But, we only spent, I think I worked out, someone said the other day, it was like 50 days outside the top six. Now, I know 50 days is still a lot, but we was up there and we didn't go below 9th until we obviously finished. But it's one of them seasons, and are we disappointed? I am, but I'm not.
Well, Adam is, but he's not. I wonder what people at home think as well. Are you disappointed? Or what, if you could give one word answer about this season, write it on the feed. Ben and Chris, what would you say?
I'd be really interested to know, if I'd had time, I would have checked to see what our predictions were at the start of the season. To see if any of us, I think we all said around the playoffs or just outside the playoffs. I don't believe any of us thought we'd get automatic promotion.
No, I think with the likes of Blackburn and Wigan in the league, we all kind of assumed that eventually they would rise to the top of the league, which evidently they did. So it was kind of vying for those playoff positions, really.
So are we saying none of us in the studio expected better then? Is that what we're saying?
I don't think any of it is expected automatic. With, like Chris just said, with Wigan and Blackburn, you know, I thought they'd come first and second. I didn't know which way round they'd come, but with the squad and what the squad they've got together, I could just see them two top two. I did think we'd give it a go. I mean, I said at the start we'd give it a go at playoffs.
I think the teams that finished up there as well, most of them I probably expected to be there at the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know, Scunthorpe, Charlton, Pompey being around us, and Bradford fell away towards the end a bit, but they were up there for quite a chunk of the season. It was the Shrewsburys who were kind of an outsider you weren't expecting to be in there, and Plymouth who suddenly went on that amazing surging run after being so poor at the start of the season. So, you know, there was probably a couple of oddballs that we weren't expecting up there, but other than that, I'd say most of the top 10 was who we kind of thought, and it, you know, people like Portsmouth and that didn't quite pull it off, and we thought probably they were going to do it at the start of the season as well. So
yeah, Shrewsbury obviously being the biggest shocker, because after they started the season off so well, I don't think I was the only one. I think most of us sat here thinking, yeah, but we know they're going to fall away during the season.
Well, they didn't
And they
lose
didn't.
a game until at us the day. I think that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were there
that was
first.
the first game, and like I say, that was the end of October. So, you know, they've done fantastic, and I've got someone that supports Shrewsbury, and he's still not going to Wembley optimistic,
I know,
because
but
it's
yeah, we all want to see Shrewsbury pull it off. Surely,
I'd
now.
love to.
Yeah.
You know, I'd absolutely love Shrewsbury to do it, because
Also,
I
it's
think Paul Hurst
closer
is
to go to the other places than Shrewsbury again.
yeah, especially on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
But we're not there. We're not there, and that's what we should probably discuss and why we are not there. Because, like we said, none of us were probably expected that we would get to automatic promotion, but I certainly expected we'd be in and around the playoffs. And like you said, we have been most of the season. But a catalyst, I think, to it, and it's something that we probably should start on, Grant McCann, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was that ill-timed?
Was he? I would still go looking back now. I'd still say it was not the right decision, really, to not give him until the end of the season. Steve Evans came in. He couldn't do anything with the squad that's there, hence the fact he's got to rebuild so heavily. If he can't do anything with the squad that was there wouldn't have been any harm in keeping Grant to the end of the season. I think they really went on the idea that Evans is going to come in and turn it around with the quality he had. I mean, on paper, at the beginning of the season, we were all optimistic playoff-wise, because on paper we have a good team of individual players. But we do seem to be lacking a man who can ever get them to play together. Or maybe it's the fact that we've been relying on individually skilled players for so long, and now we're going the opposite direction in the summer, and we're going to get, I don't want to call them cloggers, but we're going to get a different type of player in. We're going to have a different type of football next season. And Grant McCann weren't suited to what we're going to be playing next season, certainly. But
See, I'm going to throw a spanner into the works, but I believe getting rid of McCann was the right time, even though the season's gone how it is.
But wouldn't you have done it sooner in that case?
You probably would have, yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. We could have said sooner. He could have gone a little while before that. But when we held on to him past when we did, then I would have given him the rest.
Correct.
We should have got rid of him sooner,
if I
anything.
knew how the season was going to pan out, you'd have kept him till the end of the season.
Yeah.
But the way that we're now looking at progressing for next season already, if say we gave McCann to the end of the season, it happened how we finished, we'd still be in that recruitment. Evans wouldn't have known what players.
So you think it was the right timing?
I think it was the right time, but I still feel gutted. Don't get me wrong, because I was still really anti.
It was a bit of a perfect storm, to be fair, when McCann went, because he'd managed to keep kind of clawing on to the end of that playoffs area, but he'd gone on a bad form of run, and you could see he was just about to drop out, and suddenly that it made McCann make a call, really, and say, look, I don't see McCann being able to keep us in that playoff position. I'm going to try and risk bringing somebody in to give him that boost.
So I was looking at it now. Obviously, it was over a week ago, but Evans' 10 games in charge he had, and McCann's last 10 games he had, McCann got more points out of it.
But you would say, and I think this has come up on social media, that Evans has probably been experimenting a lot with his team, hasn't he, to understand and I guess plan for next season, hasn't he? And that's what I think he used them 10 games for.
Because it's not his tools.
well, so he's told us.
So
Yeah, but I'd even reckon.
So no, someone else's tools in the toolbox.
that's it.
I reckon
So go on now.
Evans had a much harder running than McCann did in in those last 10 games. Evans had Rotherham away, Plymouth away, Blackburn away, Portsmouth away. Even those four, I think I only expected maybe like 3-4 points.
Yeah.
I didn't expect anything for Blackburn. Rotherham would have taken a draw, Plymouth would have taken a draw, and Charlton at home. Even then, you would have taken a draw against in the top 6 side. McCann's last games, you had Blackpool away. No, was that in his finals 10? No, that was February, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
But even then, a 1-1 draw. Wimbledon, 1-1 draw. Scunthorpe, 2-2 draw against Scunthorpe, I would have taken. But there was too many of those. He had an easy run in, but then again, some of the teams under Steve Evans still lost to those lower down sides. But his running was a lot harder. So I think it's hard to judge those 10 games considering they had different calibre of teams.
The strange thing is the one thing I did think when Evans come in is Evans has always had an ability to take players that don't perform for us and gets them to perform for other teams. I mean, how many did he have at Rotherham? 1.6 or 7. Mansfield the same. He's had others before at other clubs.
Yeah.
He always gets our crap to perform well.
Well, he hasn't done it in the last 10 games. Though.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. So when he came in, I thought, well, maybe he can take this bunch of players and do something that McCann wasn't getting out of him, because he does it with our worst players.
So what do you make of when he first came into the club and said it's the most talented squad that he's played with?
Well, that's
Because
interesting.
if he didn't say that, I would completely be behind everything he's done.
Yeah.
But the fact he's come in and said it's the most talented squad, and don't get me wrong, I think we've got some fantastic talent in the squad. Well,
Yeah, that's not your argument.
no, it's
Your
not.
argument
But
is
why
he's
has he
come in
said
and
that?
said that.
6-7 games later, after we've lost 5 in a row or 4 in a row, he's now saying that they're the wrong players.
Well, it's like an excuse, isn't it? It's like
Correct.
an excuse. It's like he's now trying to. Yeah, he came in and sort of thought about all this and thought about the players that he's got, and then like you said, it's all of a sudden he's thinking, oh, hang on a minute, bloody hell. You know, I did say that, and I've got to make a different.
Be careful with that one.
Isn't it a case though? You're talking about he's he's talking about having a talented squad when he first came in, and that doesn't mean they're going to play well though. So I think it's justifiable to come in and say, I think these guys are talented, but they've got to prove their worth. And then come 5-6 games down the line, they haven't lived up to that hype of talent. I think he's right to be critical of them. We've been talking about it all season about certain players in the squad, which I'm sure we'll touch upon later on, who have got the ability there and just haven't shown it all throughout the season.
Yeah,
It's a talented squad, but it doesn't mean that they're a talented squad together. You know, we have loads of good individuals, but as a team, that was the weakness.
I do think in pre-season that bringing in Anthony Grant, I thought, well, no, he came in just before that, obviously the window before that.
January, yeah.
But the addition of players like him started to make me think, well, he's bringing them in to make the flair players. It's the missing ingredient as such, but it didn't really make much difference, did it? I mean, we got him, we had Taylor in, we got the experience in, but now we're going to top load on experience by the looks of it.
I just wanted to put it out to you guys. You know, what did this really do to our season by getting rid of McCann? And do you agree with it? Do you think it was the right decision? I know we've probably done it on social media when it first happened, but it'd be interesting to get people's views. So, if it was the right decision to get rid of Grant McCann when we did, put your thumbs up. If it wasn't, do angry faces. And we're just going to go to Chris, who's going to just look through a couple of the comments on social media already.
So earlier on you asked about giving a one-word synopsis basically of the season. Pete's come in and said average, fair enough. Ben Beebe's come in and said failure. Paul Wiley's come in and said expected. James Roth's come in and said deserved. Mark Watson disappointed. Rob Cook mentality. They're the kind of single word feeds that people have come in. So I think they all kind of touch on the same thing where, you know, there was a bit of hype at the start of the season, but ultimately we're not too shocked that it hasn't kind of come off. Sorry, going back, Michael Gale's coming about talking about the average wages that came out, the details of that, which I assume we'll probably touch upon later on again. Anything else?
We've got Steve Coulson. Could be worse. Could be playing MK in Cobblers next season. I would love to play Cobblers next season. MK, I don't care if we never play them again.
Right.
Playing Cobblers is an easy 6 points this
Yeah,
season.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there was just another comment about your top mate. Did you go to the sale?
No, did you not know? I passed the first fitness test. So
Oh, did you?
one of Steve Evans' new
He's
first
in the
signings.
first team now. isn't he?
First
He's got it,
team.
mate. Apparently, what happened in the supermarket the other day, mate?
I'm not going to repeat it.
Oh,
No,
really?
Yeah, just some kid thought I was actually a first team player, but it's fine.
I would have done a selfie and everything. I
Would
would
you?
have like, yeah, of course I would.
You do it anyway. Though,
No,
don't
no,
you?
that's
You,
serious.
you do look a bit like kind of the left midfielders. Which one is it? Cooper, Madison. Got a bit of both of them in you, really, haven't you?
Thank you.
If I'm honest, he's always looked like a bit of an ill Jamie Vardy.
Oh, I've had Jamie Vardy so many times.
Yeah.
You look like a sick version of him.
I wish I had his wages. But that's about it.
Mate, don't chat shit. You'll get banged out.
Swear jar.
Oh, swear jar. That must be quite full, actually. I think it's got old pound coins. in it,
Yeah.
actually, so, anyway, let's move on a bit. And Alex had put down here on the script which games defined the season. So, can anyone think of any games this season that has really kind of defined? Really. I mean, I'll just put it out there first of all. I think it's not one single game, but I think you've got to put it down to the amount of home games against, like we alluded to earlier, where we've lost 1-0 to teams that we shouldn't be losing to.
You talk about the home games. It's the away games where we struggle. So
Especially in the Manchester area.
it's not just that.
But
Are we?
So I'm going to have to credit a stat to someone. But do you know the last time this season we won away 3 o'clock on a Saturday?
Northampton.
Oh wow, was it?
Northampton away back in August.
Wow.
Really?
That was the last time we went away on a Saturday at 3 o'clock
In the league.
in the league. So yeah, obviously. So and that you cannot keep that up. You know,
Games that stand out for me this season. I mean, MK away was shocking.
Yeah,
the
good
the
point,
fact
yeah.
that we couldn't break down 9 men
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
what was it, 60 odd minutes or something,
Yeah.
that we should have been killing that off. Charlton away, we should never have given them a chance to get back in the game.
When
it's-
like Ricky Miller going
it's,
up and
it's individual errors
Yeah.
like that Charlton away. So you've got to put the blame for Miller when he's taking a
Yeah,
shot. From
we've
40
had
The
some-
end of his Bosch career.
We've had some bad luck as well. I mean, Wigan away, we should have probably won. That goal was onside,
That-
wasn't
yeah.
it?
That one was
Yeah.
cool.
But I'm just saying,
Walsall,
you-
or even though we'll come on to that sort of one later, for me it was Plymouth. Even if
Yeah.
we'd beaten Plymouth, that would still. I'm not checked on the league, but that would have been a massive turning point because that would have been a Plymouth loss and 3 points extra for
The
us.
result at MK,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
9 men.
I think
Yeah.
the Plymouth game though was, if you look at what Plymouth did there, we went down to 10 men, they got back in the game. We went down to 9. They got the winner basically. If that had been us, we'd have probably still gone and lost the game.
But-
and I think that sums us up for the
Plymouth,
season.
Plymouth sums it up. We were in a winning position. We lost.
Mm.
We lost our heads. I mean, obviously Shepherd's wasn't a deserved red card, and obviously got rescinded. Taylor's, he was already on a yellow, and he was quite lucky. It was just a yellow, considering he needed a guy in the chest.
Yeah.
That was stupid to run in front of it. That was, I don't
Yeah.
know what on earth he was thinking, trying to put him off. That was a deserved red card. So mentality, bottling it from a winning position, and a vital game. Pretty much.
I like that from Alex, because what you're saying is that wasn't a season-defining moment because it's too late in the season.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying, it's summed up
It's
Yeah.
what
one
happened
game-
that
one
season.
game
It's really,
with some
it's really good, mate.
Thank you, Lee.
We should come on the show more often.
Yeah, I tried.
I think
to,
personally,
but you don't hear
you've got to look at the Milton Keynes game. You know, we don't do very well over Christmas, but this year we beat Fleetwood away just before Christmas. We go to Bradford and put in a performance.
So remember the Fleetwood away one? That was a minute or two from being a 2-1 loss.
It was.
Well, a
yeah.
few minutes from being a 2-1
But
loss.
grinding
so-
out results like that, and unfortunately,
We had a
obviously,
shocker against Doncaster. We didn't play particularly well and still ground out a result there, didn't we, before the
Draw, yeah,
MK?
That was early
that
doors
was-
after being
But
on.
No,
I'm just
that was
saying,
0-0,
there was a run going on there, and
Yeah.
then MK just kind of blew it for us.
Let's have a look on just social media, Adam. There's a few people mentioning
Quite
things
a
about
few
what we've
people
just
have
been
obviously
speaking
said
about.
losing to 9-10 men at
Yeah.
MK away was the game one to win. Ben Porter 5 away wins all season. You
Is
know,
that it?
yeah, it is.
Wow.
It's you know
Obviously, if you take out Bristol Rovers away and Northampton away within the August,
within the first 3 weeks of the season.
yeah.
Tommy
I don't-
said Southend, Gillingham, Scunthorpe at home. Obviously, it's
Yeah, that's what I was
I mean,
alluding to, the
yeah.
rubbish results at home
it's
as well.
Is she what was it? Losing? Do we lose
30
30
points
from
almost,
winning
wasn't it?
positions?
That's second in the league, I think.
yeah.
If we held on,
worst.
but obviously that doesn't
But-
include the teams we would have played against, the points they would have lost.
I think again to quote, I think it was Swanee in his article in the Telegraph. He said he can't remember a season where those kind of substitutions in the 60th minute onwards have kind of had such an adverse effect on the squad. and the game we're playing in. So I think the depth in the squad has been a big problem as well. Or the options on the bench really just haven't kind of kicked on and seen out games and things
Is
like
it
that.
just me, or have the substitutions under Evans been just as puzzling as the
Yeah.
ones under
Yeah,
McCann?
but again, isn't that because of the experiment that he's been put in place? Though,
But we were
just to-
still chasing at the time. You still should have. It's just hard. So, like I say, a lot of times it was like watching McCann still in charge.
Yeah.
You'd just be saying, right, this player needs to come on into the game now, and it'd be someone else, and it'd be a different position that was changed and needed to be. I mean, it just seemed like a bit of a continuation from previous management in that respect.
I think the squad was set up for that kind of 3-5-2 formation right from the word go. You know, with the kind of holding midfielders that we had, the kind of pace we wanted up front and things like that. And I think Evans comes in, and Evans is a 4-4-2 man. He's already said he's going to go 4-4-2 next season.
I like
I don't know.
5-2. I liked the beginning of the season. I don't understand why we changed it. That was what we went on our run. It didn't work.
Yeah, but
once it-
Alex, the amount of
didn't
people
work.
that slagging that off.
Yeah.
They were
You-
slagging it off, but we went.
But
and
I mean-
it didn't work against Bradford. That was it. And then we played a different formation against MK. It worked once.
But I don't think
we
the
stuck to
squad
it.
we had suited a 4-4-2 formation when
But
Evans
that's when you
came
can
in.
improve it in January.
Can
If
we
you-
come back to that point? Hold that point, and I'm going to come straight back to you because I think it's about time to award our first trophy, our first award of the evening, and this is for the worst defeat of the season. Obviously, we've just been talking about that really, and to present the award is Grant McCann. Evening, Grant. No, he's not
No,
here
he's
actually.
not
No,
there,
he didn't
sorry.
turn up. Sorry, unfortunately, he couldn't be with us tonight. Anyway,
2 seasons in a row he's done that.
I know it's out of order. Worst defeat of the season, then, Adam.
Without a doubt, 85% of you voted for Milton Keynes away, which was obviously the worst defeat. It was closely followed by Plymouth away, and then thirdly followed by Lincoln away. But like I say, 85% of us thought that the worst defeat of the season was Milton Keynes away.
Thank you for that. Let's go back to Alex. Go.
So 3-5-2.
Go.
It was exciting up front, exciting in defence because we were guaranteed to concede, but we were scoring for fun. You know, what was it? We put 4 past Northampton, we put 4 past Bristol Rovers, Rotherham at home, Plymouth at home, even though it's only 2-1. You let that off first game. I didn't really, forget about
They
that.
were aside with momentum. It was a good result.
Yeah, so they'd just been promoted. They were on a high, we were on a low, and it was a good performance. Granted, it might not have been as entertaining, but solid 4-1 wins. We went undefeated. It didn't work against Bradford, but it was that.
It wasn't
okay, one time it didn't work, so we'll completely start again. We'll completely go for a new formation.
It wasn't a criticism of the formation. It just when we had the problem when it wasn't working against a team like Bradford, we didn't really have an option to set up differently to try and counteract the other team. And I think the way the squad was, it was heavily orientated towards that. I mean, you saw from the word go, McCann wasn't keen on the guys we had at right back really. They didn't suit the wing back position, so that's why Leo got stuck out in that position for most of it.
And that's also the thing when Guion went.
Yeah.
That pretty much left. If you were to have 2 wing backs, it pretty much have to be Leo and Hughes as wing backs. But I liked it. I thought it was entertaining, but it's going to be 4-4-2 next season, so no point going on about it.
Yeah.
I question as well, with Taylor coming in to bring experience into the squad, I don't think McCann ever saw him play in that number of games this season for us. I think he was hoping that he would bring on Baldwin and Tafazoli and their abilities, but in the end he ended up probably running that central defence and the other 2 playing alongside him.
MKE off the floor.
Ian
Yeah,
Gall
we
said
got
to
to
an
the previous
MK, he got no
comments.
washing up to do, and he said MK off the floor.
Nice.
I could say I've got more washing up now as well.
I think we should go on to the next award of the evening, and this award is for goal of the season. So it's a happy award this time, and to present this award is Darren McAnthony. Evening, Darren.
No.
No, he's not turned up either.
Unfortunately, I was going to get Dell to present this, but he's not turned up either. And it was Madison's goal against Shrewsbury back in October. I can't even find it on it,
Below that.
Was it? I can't even, this is amateur, isn't it, really? So yeah, 84% of you voted for Madison against Shrewsbury, followed by Lloyd's goal against Bury, which I actually thought was quite a well taken goal. And then thirdly, with 3% came in Cooper against Oldham on his debut.
No.
No, unfortunately, Marcus Maddison couldn't be with us tonight to accept the award. So on his behalf, we was going to give it to Dell, but obviously, like you said, he's not here. But yeah, unfortunately, Marcus couldn't be here because he's doing something else. I was just trying to think of something funny.
Yeah,
I absolutely lost the plot.
Dell's doing his fitness test for Evan's second signing. Me and him are both going at 7.
Oh dear. Anyway, talking about Steve Evans, I think we should start to talk about in terms of the improvements that we might make during the summer, or we might need to make. Obviously, let's first concentrate on the stuff off the field, because it's quite interesting. Dower's Periscope the other day, wasn't it? And we were just talking about various different things that are going to go on. That is brilliant. We do apologise. That is brilliant.
That just sums up the season, doesn't it? It really does.
Alex out.
Alex out.
Seriously.
We're all going to take...
Oh no no!
Oh. Everyone has head rush.
Hi everyone.
I'm watching on this. I can't wait to see that.
He goes down easily, Marcus Maddison.
Yeah. I think the phone is not
That
a
was-
fan of Evans. It just threw itself
was-
to the ground.
That was just after Madison's award. Took a terrible dive.
Absolutely
Anyway.
shocking dive. We were talking about improvements from the summer. We were talking about so we mentioned the pitch. It's quite interesting. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, this
I didn't really
Deso
understand what it's all
pitch.
about.
Well, no, Google don't really help me either. Like I say, I haven't actually spoken to Dan much. So we're going into a Deso pitch, which apparently all the top teams have now, which is 20% artificial, and the rest is obviously real. But like I say, credit to what Dan's done this year. And he'll admit it himself that it's the goal mouse which have unfortunately played up. But when it hasn't been relayed after the Elton John concert, the pitch has done fantastic.
Yeah.
And top marks to Dan and his team for keeping it in such fantastic condition all year, really.
And they're going to have that to do again this summer. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
but it's been relayed, so we are.
after the Steps concert.
Yeah, but so
5,
it will
6,
be
7, 8.
fantastic.
And also, he talked about some commercial stuff off the field as well. I mean, with Dower's Periscope, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it does seem a lot of the stuff he's saying you've heard 5, 6, 7,
8
times before. But you know, I was trying to think of more Step songs and I absolutely wrote that. But it's true, and so a lot of it you kind of had to think, well, you're not going to listen to that. But I thought the two new owners talked well, and I thought they sort of given insight of the sort of stuff that is going off the field as well. So I think it's quite interesting.
I think the two new owners are very opposite, and it's very weird. So that the Jason seems very mature about it, but Stuart just seemed a bit laid back. He's a bit like you, really.
Yeah.
Seemed very laid back and wanted to take a joke about everything. Now, obviously, they're working together. I think it'll be interesting to see how them two plus Dower. But like I say, the fivesome that were together last week, they seemed to have a positive outcome. So, but yet again, unfortunately, we've got to see the actions on the pitch first. Got a live viewer from Paris now.
Oh wow, that is great.
Just
So that's sort of off the field side of stuff. Any more from you boys in terms of off the field commercial stuff?
Off the field commercial. Yeah, my daughter's watching. Happy birthday, Lauren.
Oh, that's nice.
There you go. She did put that we need eye candy on here, but unfortunately Alex isn't on camera at the moment. So
Connection with that, talking about the commercialism, they've sold the naming rights, haven't they, to London Road Stand?
Yes, that is another point. Yeah, they have.
Western Homes.
But
it's
they
not going
have
to change. No one's going to call it.
No,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, but that's why I think it was important that they kind of kept that in there anyway. The London Road Terrace and that's
You still notice it, like if I watch Soccer Saturday of a weekend or something like that, you know, they'll be talking about we'll go to this ground, that ground, and half the time they refer to the old kind of classic name to it.
Correct. You know, I mean, ever since it's been Abax, I mean, I can't say I've called it Abax. You know, it's just more money for the club, which is never a bad thing.
Yes, absolutely. So that's off the field. Alex, I'm going to start with you on the field, mate. Are we going to go through the players first, or do you want to talk about just general improvements?
I reckon we go through players and figure out what we can improve from the players we want to get rid of. And here's where my printing, comes into good use.
You got full list of the squad.
Well,
Full list of the squad.
somewhere. Just talk for a minute.
We can talk for a minute.
We will never go through every player, are we?
Aren't we?
Oh,
Every single player. Anyway,
I've got work at 7 tomorrow.
Oh, there we go. I knew I had a list.
There we go.
right, Alex. So everyone's going to join in at home as well. So if you want to keep them, thumbs up. If you want to sell them, angry faces. Alex.
So first off, we won't include loan players.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
go for a few, mate. Don't go
Right.
for all of them.
Shepherd.
Shepherd, 100%.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
I like
Hughes.
Yep. Easy.
Tough.
Yeah.
This is quite
this
shocking
is
going
easy.
down the season.
Yeah. Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Throwing it out
Time
there.
to go.
Oh.
Time to go. We'll come back to that because it'll be an interesting.
Right. Should be an easy one. Guion.
Guillaume. Oh. No.
Can you just do all the keeps first so I don't have to keep going every arm?
Right. They're not gonna know which one they're pressing for. Forrester.
I think it's time to
Time
go.
to go.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Although Evans has said that one's going to bite him on the foot, he reckons.
On the arse.
Uh,
Well, we've got
Ricky
him on the
Miller.
foot.
Ricky Miller.
Sorry, Ricky.
Where's
No. All day. See you later, Ricky Miller.
No, it's
Where's
alright.
don't care?
And
Right.
just while I just talk about Ricky Miller, it'd just be interesting to go to the awards again. And this award is for the worst player of the season. Now,
It actually was quite close, I think.
I don't think
Yeah, it was.
I
No,
don't think it was.
Omar Bogle got the worst player of the season.
Oh, that's
with 49%.
Yeah.
Ricky Miller was obviously close second on 38%. Unfortunately, 2 flops this season, which, when they both came in, we was all excited. I'm just more annoyed about Bogle that Dower kept us up till gone midnight when he signed him.
Yeah.
We was all tired from the work the next day, and then it turns out to be the biggest flop.
The other club's fans were warning us the next day all about Omar Bogle
Yeah.
and saying
Yeah.
that all the stuff they said about him was true. They said that he was lazy, that he'd be caught offside all the time. He's one of those that he's fine if he's just in front of goal. Unfortunately, he never was for us.
Now, unfortunately, Omar Bogle couldn't be with us tonight to accept the reward because he's a lazy bastard.
Ooh, steady.
Ooh.
Let's go on.
Steve says, how are we going to sell Miller? We couldn't give him away.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but there are
That's true.
people who want him.
Yeah.
Right, let's move
Next
on.
one.
Right. I know what Dell's going to put for this. Danny Lloyd.
Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy one.
Marcus Madison.
If we can.
That's the thing. If you can.
I think we cash in on him now.
I think we
Yeah.
cash in on him. Yeah.
Cash in.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack
I mean, I'm a
Jack
big fan of
Marriott.
his, but
Jack Marriott.
well, obviously.
I'm controversially going to say cash in on him as well.
Myself, yeah, I think that much
Keep
money
him.
can fund so much.
We want the ground. We need a new squad.
Joe Ward.
And he's got more relevance if Madison goes.
I like his
Bear
song.
in mind, yeah.
I like his song.
So maybe we should bang that drum a bit more and then sing it.
Hard.
Oh, that's a hard one.
That's a
That
diff-
really
that's a
is a
tricky
hard one.
one.
But I would keep him as the fourth striker, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think
I'd keep him
I
as the
still
third
think we're going to
striker.
be
Yeah.
4 strikers anyway, so I don't think we can get a place in that.
Yeah.
Alex Penny.
Go. Don't need him. See you later.
I like delivering ASOS parcels to him.
Honestly, I think if he stays fit, he could be all right for us
Yeah,
this season.
He was keeping Shepherd out, weren't he?
Mm.
This is one that could divide opinion. Leo da Silva Lopez.
If Sessegnon's worth 100 million, Leo's worth 50 million.
I would keep him on the off chance we actually play him the whole bloody season in centre
He's right
midfield.
possession.
I can't believe even Evans tried playing him at right wing back
But
towards the end of
Shrewsbury
this.
away. Oh my god,
I
it's
just
painful.
it just
but
beggars
he's-
belief.
He's also said himself that he's been taught to play possession football, and that's not what Evans wants. So
No.
if he can't change quickly, he'll be gone anyway.
Just do a
Right.
few more and get a
Who
ball.
we got left?
Idris Carney.
Oh.
Where's Loan?
Loan, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
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 Yeah,
Loan.
Loan. Yeah, go on then. We'll do that one. Football's left. Michael Doherty.
Doherty? Who's
Doherty.
Doherty?
How do you pronounce
snooker
it?
player.
Doughty.
That's Ken Doherty.
Sell.
I don't know who he is.
Actually, no, I don't mind him, but he won't suit us.
The season sort of.
I think he's got.
Jermaine Anderson.
Oh, yeah, go.
He's
or
never in when I deliver him.
Adam's favourite player, Abdul Nabi.
Oh.
I'm gutted he never
Thank
got
you.
a chance, to be honest.
There's no point in
the
selling
same-
him. We won't get any money for him.
Do you know what? Do you know
Unless
the best
Adam
thing
gives
is?
us a fiver.
The
He'll
best
be
thing I
right.
saw about Naby was he's been on more transfer markets than he has team sheets in the last year.
Right, I would say Callum Chettle, but he's already been released. But
Yeah.
would you have kept Callum Chettle?
No.
No.
I
I
don't know
think
how old
No,
was he?
neither.
23?
Who's
Oh,
left?
was he? I thought he
God,
was
how
young.
long we got more?
We've not got left.
Go on.
Tibbets, maybe a bit
No,
young.
okay, loan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conor O'Malley.
Loan.
Yeah. What?
and Marley.
Yeah, no, get in the bin. We're keeping him.
Get in the bin. Is his
Uh,
favourite?
Stephen Taylor.
Oh.
It depends who we bring in, but I'd like to keep.
Please.
I won't mention Matty Stevens. won't mention Sam Cartwright, Lewis Freestone.
Oh yeah. He's
I
Yeah,
like
loan,
him.
on loan.
No.
Yeah,
the
loan
lone
one.
one.
I don't know if Freestone's good though to have as a backup left back because you're always going to start Hughesy. So
And
you
we
want.
are going to have a regular reserves.
Under
that
23s.
matches up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Are you going to want to try and bring in another left back that you're going to promise to play second string, or do you play with someone like Freestone?
Starting in League Two, maybe.
No, it's not that one.
Cooper.
Yeah, I like
Oh.
Cooper.
I like
thought we
him.
finished.
He's
Oh,
going to be
it's-
no keeper will be key next.
How many have we got
I
left?
think we're in reserves as
Four.
well.
Four.
Four.
Won't mention Andrea Borg.
No.
Yeah,
No,
no,
carry
no,
on.
I'm surprised he didn't go on the
Yeah.
loan list.
Yeah, loan.
Anthony Grant.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd keep him.
Yeah, I
If
I
we
think
if we
I'm
need
with
a
you
holding
boys.
midfielder, yeah.
And
think he's-
finally, Brad Inman.
I think he's had a fantastic season at Rochdale, so you might as well.
He's been alright.
He hasn't had a fantastic season.
Well, that was great. That was good. That was actually quite good. Is there anyone on there mentioning different things? Sorry about Chris Coffin, bless him. It's just
Yeah, I'm dying.
Yeah, well,
Ian Gal saying Carney's ready for League One. And so we'll get rid of Lopez.
Derek came in here with a comment, "Give the effer away." I'm assuming that was in a.
Is that how Danny Lloyd, do you think?
No,
yeah,
no.
yeah, he hates Danny Boy, doesn't he?
He hates him.
Sell Junior, keep Junior, sell Lopez, sell Lopez.
So,
Who would pay for Lopez? Get rid of Lopez. A lot of
Wow.
people not happy with Lopez. How it looks.
I think he just needs to come out of the blocks next season and go for it. Really.
Anyway, before we move on to talking about transfer targets coming in, let's go for another award. This award is for the best away game, and I think this is quite easy and quite straightforward. Adam?
It's one that you actually went to.
Yeah, I know, it's great.
That's probably what was the best. Did you vote? So it was a Villa away.
Too close to me, sorry for touching you.
That's a different one. There you go, that's that one.
Thank you. Villa away with 77% of the votes, followed by Northampton away and then Cambridge away. Even though Cambridge away was wasn't everyone's cup of tea, it was actually
I loved it.
I
It was
quite enjoyed
fantastic.
it. It was one I actually I voted for Cambridge.
I
away.
waited almost a decade to go back
Yeah.
there. I was going to enjoy it, whatever happened.
Correct. So no, like I say, Aston Villa away, which was a day that we won't forget, really, will it? So,
And while we're here, the best victory of the season award goes to
Aston Villa away.
Villa
Unfortunately,
away.
that was only 70%. But like I say, a couple of people went in for Wigan at home, the 3-2 victory last minute, weren't it? And then Northampton away.
Good stuff. Okay, let's go on and talk about the transfers coming in and also who we think needs to come in and what positions, etc. You know, he's already talked about there's going to be a shed loads coming in, 12, 13, 14, a mass exodus and a mass inodus.
Exodus.
Oh no!
Is he is he
Oh,
coming back?
no.
Yeah. Do you not know?
Exodus
That's
and
set
Naby in
pieces
centre
though, isn't
midfield.
it? Anyway, Adam.
I don't really know, to be honest.
Okay.
Good.
Good TV.
Yeah.
This is Talk Posh. Cheers.
I think we need a position, one for every position. Is what he said.
Well, he said he's found.
Marley's been named in the final squad for Ireland. Congratulations.
good.
to him.
Fantastic.
Well deserved.
Oh, you're going
Alex
to
is
tweet
so
him, mate,
happy.
really?
So
But he said we need four. He's got 4 names for every position, hasn't
correct,
he?
yeah, just in case of rejection.
And we've seen a couple of those names, obviously.
Wow, that was ridiculous.
Like
Whoever
that
got
Dan-
Ward.
Danny Ward.
That was
Yeah.
Nicole, I think. And
Yeah,
that
I
was
don't-
absolutely fantastic.
I don't know
That.
what
Great
eyes
investigation.
she'd got. But yeah, it's
There's room with the defender already from Mansfield as well, isn't there?
yeah, Reece
Oh,
Bennett,
Hayden White. Is he coming back?
Right.
Oh, get in.
Reece Bennett.
Ironically, Hayden White wasn't that bad a player
He
when
was
we got rid of
he was
him.
good in the wing back
Yeah.
formation.
Do you remember when Hayden White played at Watchdale the first game of the season?
Oh, he was
I think it
fantastic. He's man of the match.
Yeah. You know, but it's unfortunately it's individual performances in one-off games that ruin it for him. But
Yeah.
I think I'm not really going to predict what's coming in because I think it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, so it's
there's-
pretty hard to do so.
It's hard to.
And
He's
they-
already signed, hasn't he? According to Darren.
According to Darrow, we're very close, yeah, and it should be
Yeah.
announced this week.
No. Don't- He put something the other day
Oh.
saying one had already been signed, but I've got
But
the
you have to wait
feeling.
till- you have to wait till Thursday because that's when the window officially opens.
Yeah, that's what. Or he
If
might
they're
be
in the
waiting until the
playoffs.
end of the contract of the player, so it might
Yeah.
be beginning of July. We hear.
Shout out to Nicole. Actually, she just said it took a lot of research to try and
Oh,
figure that one out.
Yeah,
So
well done, Nicole. Brilliant stuff. No, I love that. If you can do some more investigation work, you could probably be on our panel, actually. That would be
We'll
quite
get
good.
I think it's worth throwing it out actually to the fans there to see who they bring in what positions.
Yeah.
Does anybody they know around of that?
Realistically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't.
Realistically.
The biggest names we're going to get are the ones that are out of contract championship players, because I still think that's the way the club might end up going more towards wages than transfer fees.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I know we're not going to really predict who's coming in, but what sort of player is he going to bring in? Because obviously he's renowned for that kind of hoofing football and that kind of thing. Is he going to do that? Are we going to get tall centre forwards?
Probably 11 players that will be able to run the entire game and not stop and kick the crap out of the opponents.
Nice.
You know, gets the job done. Isn't pretty solid in defence. I reckon that's what it'll be.
I dare say we'd had Evans at the start of the season and Maddison in the team. We'd have had a decent big guy up front who you could put the ball on the top of the head of.
It would have been a big man and Marriott.
Yeah, and Marriott. No, because the pace of Marriott was fantastic.
Oh,
but you know, we've got that potential for crossing there, and literally no one to aim for.
Is anyone a bit? I don't know. I don't know what the word is, but you're not really looking forward to some of the way that we're going to play football next season.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not.
You couldn't care. So this is my question: could you care? Like, you don't care whether we go through the whole of the season and we get promoted, but it's absolute shite football, shite entertainment. You know.
Ask yourself this: last time Arsenal won the title all that time ago, right? Do people talk about the fact they were boring? Only other fans do. Do Arsenal fans go, "Yeah, we were boring that season," or do they just tell you they were champions?
What's that phrase? That
well, I hate Arsenal fans anyway. So
yeah, but it's the fact. You said earlier this season we had a thing where you said, I'd rather lose 5-4 than have a boring 1-0 win. And I said I would always take the win. Full stop. That's what football's about.
No, football is about that, but football is always it's also an entertainment, isn't it? It is an entertainment, and like.
But people, when we were before the Darragh era, when we first went into the second flight, I think it was the old Division 1 back then. Right, that team that got up there, they were just triers. They weren't skillful. It wasn't fun football to watch. We clogged it. We pulled it. We just went at matches hard, and we got the results. People don't talk these days about how boring or whatever the football was. That's regarded as our best ever team because they gave us our best ever finish, and that weren't pretty football. But no one thinks about the standard of football. It's just what we achieved at the time, and it's the same next season. If we get the wins, people won't care about the standard of football if we're winning.
I think a big problem as well is if we play that pretty football we keep talking about in League One, it doesn't set us up well for the Championship.
Yeah, and
we go into the Championship, we need a team that can grind out results. You know, is not scared of trying to play for a 1-0 win or even a draw.
Yeah, it's interesting what people are saying on social media as well, Ben.
Well, like Tommy Roberts has just put here, the flip side to that, have you enjoyed the last 5 seasons then?
Yeah, I'd much rather it be boring but get promoted than be entertaining and finish 9th, 8th, 10th.
Yeah, but it hasn't been
Basically not
entertaining
in
this
playoff.
season either, though, is it?
No, but in previous seasons we've had the flair players, we've had good moments to look back at, we played good passing football at times.
In
but it didn't mean
One,
anything.
In League One, we're the second top goal scorers in the past 2 seasons combined.
And we couldn't get the playoffs.
And we've not been anywhere.
Michael Gale's just come in, and I think it's something that's really bugged me for the last few seasons. You talk about this lovely passing football and things like that that's supposed to give us entertainment in that, and we spend 30% of the time passing it across the back four.
Yeah.
You know, games when when we're talking about the centre midfielders, for example, not scoring enough goals this season.
I think it was Swansea said they've scored 2 and our defenders have scored 13.
That's
unbelievable,
isn't it?
But it'll be interesting to see the possession stats in the game of how much someone like the centre midfield have got compared to the defence. Because I reckon that defence easily gets more possession than the centre mid half the time.
Well, interesting point anyway. It was good. It was good. It was a good argument. Let's go on just to a couple more awards, and this award is for the worst referee in decision of the season.
That's why it's a Michael Doherty.
Right,
worst referee in decision of the. You've put me off. As coming at Shepherd's red card at Plymouth with 47%, followed by what I believe was the worst one, which was a Junior's goal at Walsall away, which was about 2 yards on the side.
And we've talked about pivotal moments, haven't we? And there are definitely referee decisions can be pivotal moments in any season, can't they? So it's interesting.
I don't think we've been unfairly done across the season because everyone in League One has suffered with the total crap that is the officiating.
I mean, it's refereeing. It's a hard enough job as it is.
Yeah.
When some of the decisions, and I mean, it's completely different, but. The Coventry penalty against Notts County at the weekend in the playoffs. You're in a playoff semi-leg, and he's given a penalty for what was a clear acceptable challenge.
On the
Yes.
flip side of that is then we see the Peterborough referee who refereed the conference.
Neil
Oh,
Hare.
Yeah.
He sent
Yeah.
someone off into-
What I mean,
Well, it was.
he shouldn't. Yeah.
Jumped
Oh,
into it.
absolutely
So-
right decision. So brave for him to do
Go-
that. But like we said, it doesn't matter what time the game it is. But fair
was-
play to him for having the
yeah.
balls to go with
And
what the law states.
The
Is that if a
referee
red card is a
should have
red
done
card.
that for Shepherd for.
Oh
Oldham
God.
at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
a
saw
couple of
the-
games after
Yeah.
I
that.
saw the angle of it from the stands, and he was actually in the air.
Correct.
Does,
It was
doesn't
one of those, it got worse the more
Yeah.
times
Yeah,
you watched
Yeah,
it.
it was awful.
but doesn't that just sum up the opinion of refereeing in this country that you praise a referee for getting a decision right?
Yeah.
Right.
True.
That,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
decision
true,
that
good
he
point.
should have straightforwardly got right because it was right in front of him and the guy was off the ground. Yet you give him massive praise for it. That's what's wrong with the refereeing. in
Okay,
my
two
opinion.
more awards before. Well, actually, Alex, you got to go, mate.
I might have to go.
He's
then,
out
yeah.
early.
It's been a pleasure.
Do you want
Yeah.
to say your goodbyes?
It's been a pleasure for the season, and look forward to seeing you all next season. Might be some changes, you never know.
Tell us how the date went.
Well, he's not on camera anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll miss him. To be fair.
Have we not told Alex we're going to loan him out to Nuneaton next season for talking Nuneaton?
Anyway, the last two awards is the best save of the season.
So, best save of the
O'Malley.
don't trip. Right, has gone to the Bonds double save against Rotherham at home with 48%. You watched that back and it was absolutely fantastic.
That's my car thing.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
And then followed by O'Malley from Rotherham away.
Yeah.
We did actually have a few Westport United. I know.
He's such an idiot.
Westport voting for O'Malley. Like I say, O'Malley pulled off a couple of good, decent saves toward the end of the season as well, especially at Plymouth away. But Bond at home with the double save against Rotherham got that one.
Fantastic. And the last and probably the most prestigious award is the player of the season.
Two more, but don't worry. Did go to Jack Marriott,
Need to move.
believe it or not, with 84%, followed by Stephen Taylor, then followed by Mark.
I mean, who can boys? You can't really
can't
argue
argue.
against that, can you?
No, when you consider how poor the rest of the team did scoring was, for him to get 30 goals out of that squad is fantastic.
You're looking like Jack Marriott today, mate.
With your man
it's my
Ben.
little homage. I mean, if I could have babies, I'd have his.
So we've got Steve Evans, Jack Marriott, and Jamie Vardy in the studio today.
I am just
Whoa!
Steve Evans.
Steve
I
Evans,
just
isn't it?
thought it was Dean Lewington with, after a few.
I am just. I'm going to butt in, Luke, and
We all
do
know it's
the
Paul
most
Robinson.
underrated
Shut up.
player this season.
Oh yes, sorry,
so,
underrated player.
Yeah,
sorry.
we had Hughesy, Danny Lloyd, and Liam Shepherd in the top three, and Hughesy did come out of that. Personally, I think he's done fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
He's got to 100 caps now for Bosch, and hopefully next season he can really kick on.
100 caps. Do we give caps?
100 cap, we give
Yeah.
caps away now, yeah.
Wow.
Do you
It's
not
not, it's
know?
not appearances, it's caps.
They give away 3 tops, to be fair. So
That's how we get players to
Yeah.
join us. You get caps here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Good stuff. Is that it?
No, you've got a couple more, isn't it? Yeah, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. I was going to do that next.
Go do that next then.
So
Do whatever you want.
we'll do
really.
it now.
You sure?
So the
This is your moment. to
the
shine.
other prestigious award that is going out, the winner.
And Dell was going to present this as
The
well.
winner of the shirt, the obviously sponsored by Serpentine Green,
You're not going to present.
and well, I'm going to hand you over to Chris, who's going to tell us who won the prediction league.
well, if we run down the top three, if you exclude a slot from it, the top three was.
God, it's keeping
stupid.
us suspense like X Factor. Flipping out.
The top three were Harvey came in third,
Oh, well done.
Mick Rosenthal came in second,
Oh, who does that mean in top
and
position?
top,
then, Chris?
top was Levi Chris. So well done,
Levi.
Levi. The shirt is coming to you. If you drop one of us a message after the show, and that will sort out getting it to you.
I'm pretty sure Dale's going to drop it off.
Yeah.
I think he's going to hand deliver it to Levi. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're going to go out for dinner.
No.
Are they? Oh, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
So.
I just want to take this moment actually just to thank all our sponsors because obviously without you guys we couldn't be here. So that's Serpentine Green and obviously the Spice Market, which you can find in Bourne, Spalding and Stamford.
Just in the studio, there was 6 of us in it, and I think it's just worth pointing out that bottom of our league table was you, Luke.
Yes.
Well done.
Bearing in mind Dale, who predicted the same score each week, got ahead of you, and Alex, who didn't take part that often.
So who came first?
That was me.
Oh, so the one.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
the one who
The
done
one
it.
that does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
brilliant.
that's understandable.
Let's just go for social media and just see what people are saying.
Levi just said boom.
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 Obviously, he's got some fireworks going off already. Steve said the worst decision was Dell taking the Victoria sponge, not the chocolate sponge. Which one did you take after the 4 games?
I don't know, I had 4 pieces, I think.
And what about the other 3 games?
Roberts actually said if we win games, that's all that matters. Look at Wimbledon; they used to play long ball, and it works for them. Someone said about Jack Baldwin, what do you think? Perfect captain, but lacked on confidence, and I think that's what we've all said. Really, he's been a fantastic captain.
Yeah, he's the sad one in that it is always sad to see a really, really nice bloke leave.
Yeah.
But you've got to get rid of the sentiment, don't you?
A lot of people saying, who cares as long as we win? I'm hoping Ian Simmons is joking when he says Evans trying to talk Jason Lee out retirement. Tyrone Barnett and Tom Nichols, no?
I think it is a big point though that we have gone now. Is it 5 or 6 seasons in League One?
Yeah, it's 5th now.
And not really progressed anywhere. So is that style of football redundant now in that respect? Do we want to go and progress as a club?
If we win 1-0 after hoofball, what are you going to feel like walking out London Road every Saturday?
Happy, we won.
Correct. You know.
We talk about hoofball though. I mean, how many goals this season did we get from playing the ball over the back of the defence?
The back of the defence.
For Marriott to run on. I mean, Marriott chipped the goalkeeper about 10 times. So there's merit there if it's available.
Correct.
Yeah, good stuff.
A lot of people talking about ex-posh players coming back, but I think, like I said, that's been ruled out.
He's already said that, hasn't he, that he's not doing it. So.
That someone pointing out the fact that it was Steve Evans that sold us Tyrone Barnett.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it'll happen. Like I say, it's pleasing to see as well. You actually brought this earlier, didn't you, Ben, about Joe Gormley?
Oh
And
yeah,
how-
top scorer in Ireland
yeah.
again. He
So I think
players player of the year.
he's done fantastic.
It's meant he couldn't handle being over.
It is a
really.
shame that these players have done so well for their clubs, come to us and unfortunately not work. But
Forrest gets to join that list as well now, doesn't
That's it though, it's give and take. You know, those players that we bring through and sell on for millions of pounds, your Gale, your Sombalonga, Marriott's going to go for millions of pounds by the looks of it. But for every one of those, you've got a Barnett, you've got a Luke James, you've got a Tom Nichols kind of thing.
For everyone we've actually done.
Yeah, but you kind of have to play that game almost to get it.
that's fine.
Good stuff. I think we might leave it there. I just want to thank our sponsors, the Spice Market and Serpentine Green. Cheers, Steve, for getting involved, and Craig as well. So thank you for that, lads. And more importantly, thanks for everyone for watching. Really good turnout tonight. I'm really impressed with that. So thank you very much. We are off for a summer of watching World Cup football. We're all excited about that.
More disappointment.
Or probably more disappointment. Absolutely right. All that's left to say is up the posh.
Up the posh.
Oh, someone's got to go.
Someone's got to go end it now.
Oh yeah. Cheers.
Unprofessional.